Let's go live to police headquarters right now for an update on human remains that were found last fall at Cherry Beach.
From October 2023.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming. The reason we're here today is that we are seeking the public's assistance in helping to identify human remains that were found in Toronto in October of 2023. Some of the information that we're going to be providing today may be disturbing. However, it is necessary and important that we provide as much information as we can to help us identify who this person was and what had happened to them. The details are as follows. On October 9th, 2023, 2 human thighs were located in Toronto at Cherry Beach on the water's edge. Several weeks later, members of the Toronto Police Marine Unit were on patrol on the waterways when they discovered what was later determined to be a human torso. That torso had been partially wrapped in black plastic bag and had on a light-colored, size small T-shirt with the brand of Cotton's Best. The torso also had a necklace, which you can see later on the teleprompter, and certainly in the news release there'll be a necklace depicted that was located on the torso. DNA testing confirmed that the body parts belonged to the same individual. Furthermore, the autopsy revealed that the human remains that were located had been intentionally dismembered. DNA testing that was conducted by the Centre of Forensic Sciences had determined that the body parts belonged to the same person. Earlier this year, we received information from a forensic pathologist with a profile of the individual. That profile is as follows, and I appreciate that the information that I'm about to provide is quite broad in its spectrum, but it's the best that we have at this time. The age of this person, who's identified as a male, is between the ages of 21 and 28 years of age, with a light brown to tan complexion, black body hair. The height of this person is between 5'3" and 5'9", give or take, and I do recognize that that is quite a large span. Based on the information that we have, it is believed that the individual died between 24 and 48 hours before the first human remains were found on that date on October 9th, 2023, and that the body parts had been placed in the water within several hours of first being located. 51 Division is taking the lead on this investigation. However, we've been working extremely closely with our Homicide and Missing Persons Unit. Both units have been working tirelessly to try and identify who this person is and what actually happened to them. We have conducted comprehensive searches of the national databases of missing persons with somebody who has matched that profile to no avail. And that's why we are here today seeking the public's assistance in trying to identify who this person is. This person is a family member, a friend, a coworker, an acquaintance. Someone knows who this individual is, and someone knows what took place. We are asking for members of the public to reach out to us. We have a designated email address that we will be providing, as well as obviously being able to call Crime Stoppers or 51 Division at 416-808-5100. In addition, obviously all of the officers at 51 Division are aware of this investigation. If members of the public see an officer on patrol, they can approach that officer with any information they have. No information is too small at this point in trying to identify who this person is. I'm now going to turn it over to Detective Sergeant Tiffany Castell of the Homicide and Missing Persons Unit to say a few words.
Thank you, Superintendent. Good afternoon. As the Superintendent mentioned, my team from the Homicide and Missing Persons Unit has been engaged since day one of this investigation. I appreciate that there's quite a bit of time that's passed since October until now to the point where we're doing this public appeal. And what I can tell you is what we have been doing is working alongside the Centre of Forensic Science, as well as the Ontario Forensic Pathology Service, to detail the profile that we put up on the screen and that the superintendent went through. Because we only have a torso and we only have thighs that do not have any distinguishing marks or scars or tattoos, it's made it quite difficult for us to identify this individual. I can certainly appreciate that there would be some cause for concern given this discovery and given the fact that the Homicide and Missing Persons Unit has been engaged. What I can assure members of the public is that we are working alongside 51 Division to ensure that the requisite number of resources are being engaged and that this is being treated with the highest level of suspicion. At this point, we do not know how this individual died. That is why it is not being treated as a homicide, although we are treating it with the highest level of suspicion, as I've mentioned. As we proceed, should we determine that there is something more to this investigation, we will not hesitate to step in and take the lead on it. I'd just like to reiterate what the superintendent said, and that is that we need the public's assistance in identifying this individual. We've given as much information as we have presently and as much information as we are hoping is going to be able to support members of the public with coming forward. We have members of our population who are vulnerable, and they may not have a large network of people who are looking out for them. So if there's someone that you are unaccounted for or someone that you know through someone else, please do not hesitate to reach out to us, either through Crime Stoppers as detailed here on the screen or through that dedicated tip email that we've provided, which is help51@tps.ca. And it is our sincere hope that with as many tips as we bring brought forward, that we'll be able to identify this individual and ultimately determine how they died. So thank you, and we'll go ahead and take questions, both myself and the superintendent.
Detective Sergeant, it seems like even though it's unclear how this person died, they were, as you said, the superintendent said, purposely dismembered. Can you just speak to that? That speaks to potentially some semblance of desperation or not wanting to call the police when that person had died. Can you just speak to how uncommon or not that circumstance is for your team?
Sure. I mean, I can't say a percentage to which it would be common, but certainly it is something that is a cause for concern. Like I said, we don't know how the individual died, so there's a lot of different explanations as to how they died, as well as the reasons why their body was intentionally dismembered. Ultimately, like I said, we're treating it as suspicious, and we are looking at it at bare minimum as an indignity to a human body until we get evidence, should we get evidence that supports something more significant than that.
Sergeant, I know you said that you haven't been able to identify the person as yet. But you have a description up here. There may be family members, friends who haven't heard from somebody in a while. They look at this description and kind of put two and two together. So what is your hope if somebody sees this and that's kind of where their mind is at? What should they do?
So my hope is that they reach out, that no matter what your thought is, that maybe the person's gone on vacation or maybe there's some explanation for why this individual is not present. We just ask you to reach out. No tip is too small. No amount of information is too tiny. So please do reach out, and we will be following up on every tip. I know the superintendent spoke to the fact that we've been going through missing persons occurrences, unidentified human remains databases, and that's not something that we've done only one time. It's something that we are doing each and every single day to make sure that we have the information and we are following up. So if you have information, please reach out anonymously to Crime Stoppers or directly to the email 51 Division or the Homicide Unit.
Just to clarify,
yes.
Catherine from Global.
Hi, Catherine.
Detective Sergeant, can you explain, you believe, based on what you've said, that someone dumped, for lack of a better word, the thighs on October 9th, and then they came back weeks later and then discarded of the torso. Can you kind of take us through your working theory of how this individual, the suspect, or the person that you're looking to speak to, went about discarding these remains?
So what I will say is I'll stay away from kind of theorizing on what's happened. What I can say for certain is that the body parts, the thighs, were put into the lake in and around a few hours to a few minutes even before we actually located them. the Ontario Forensic Pathology Service was not able to tell us how far or how proximate the torso was put into the water to the thighs because they were located several weeks later. So like I said, I can't theorize on what's happened. All I can go with is what the Ontario Forensic Pathology Service has told me. That is that the individual was died somewhere between 24 and 48 hours ahead of when the body parts were located, and that based on the analysis by the forensic pathologist that those body parts had not been in the water very long, particularly the thighs, it wasn't as clear and definitive for the torso.
But you said you believe the torso, which was found a few weeks later, a couple of weeks later, had
Yes.
just been put in the water. Is that not correct?
No, so what we said about it being put in the water proximate to when it was located was for the thighs. We don't actually know when the torso was put into the water. So we don't know if they were put into the water at the same time or if they were put into water the 9th or thereabouts and then 2 weeks later. We're actually not sure about that.
Detective Sergeant, do you
Yes.
believe that there may be other parts of this individual still in the lake or anywhere around Cherry Beach? Is it possible that there are still remains at the scene?
So what I can say is that there's certainly going to be remains somewhere. Whether or not those remains are in the lake is to be determined.
Detective Sergeant, who found the initial finding of the thighs? The superintendent mentioned that the Marine unit found the torso. Was it a civilian that found the initial remains on the beach?
It was, yes.
Can you just speak to, I mean, sometimes we forget that we're a lake city, like that's obviously deeply disturbing for someone at a popular beach to come across something like that. Can you just speak to, you know, that instance and the civilian making that call?
Sure, I'll go ahead and let the superintendent.
Thank you so much. What I can tell you is that we received a call from a member of the community who had found what they believed to be human remains. Shortly after that, we conducted a very comprehensive search of the entire area of Cherry Beach, including the wooded area, the parking lot in the easternmost area, as well as the walking trail. So that entire area has been searched extensively, as well as with cadaver dogs. The second thigh was located by officers.
And I know the Marine unit, I've been out with them, sometimes the lake is quite murky and any additional searching in the lake can sometimes be difficult, but I imagine they've conducted some additional searching after finding the torso. Is that fair to say?
That is very fair to say. We have done, as I said, and as Detective Sergeant Tiffany Castell has mentioned, we have worked tirelessly since we received this call and found the remains to try and identify who this individual is, as well as try and locate anyone who may know who he is. We have done extensive video canvassing of the area, and we have been in contact with our partner agencies. We have contacted not only nationally the missing persons database to see anybody who matched the description, but we've also went across the border in case any of the body parts had washed up on the shore here in Toronto.
That's what my question relates to. Do you believe the body parts were left locally? Like, did someone drive to the beach, or did someone in a boat by this beach, or do you have an idea of potentially how far they could have washed away from? Was there anything that could have brought them from further away from another municipality? How far is this scope?
As Detective Sergeant Castell had mentioned, we are not going to theorize as to what we think may or may not have happened, just because it is an ongoing investigation, and quite frankly, what we don't want is to get tunnel vision or to be focusing on one area. We don't know at this point, and that is why we are appealing to the public for any assistance. If they saw something, if they know something, if the description that we've provided rings a bell to anybody as to who they haven't seen in some time, to please reach out again through either the dedicated email address from Crime Stoppers or any other means that you can to get us the information, no matter how small it may be.
The
One more
necklace,
question.
does the necklace have a brand, or do you have any idea where it may have come from? Is there anything that you were able to source about it?
No, not at this point. It's a pretty generic necklace. Same with the T-shirt. It's a very generic brand that you can buy at a number of different locations. However, we wanted to provide as much information as we can in being transparent with the investigation with what information we have at this point.
Technically, Superintendent, there's no way to know if this person's a Toronto resident. Is that fair?
That is very fair.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
We're done, thank you. Thank you for coming.
We've been getting an update from Toronto Police, some gruesome details being revealed about human remains that were found at Cherry Beach. Last fall, we were finding out that 2 human thighs were located at the water's edge, along with a human torso. That torso had a necklace on it. We saw some pictures displayed by Toronto Police, and that the DNA confirms that the body parts of the torso and the thighs are believed to be of the same person, and that these human remains were intentionally dismembered. Also, the pathologist confirmed a profile of this individual, male between 21 and 28 years old, a light brown tan complexion, and the height is about 5'3" to 5'9". 51 Division is taking the lead on this investigation. They're trying to identify who this person was, and they're asking for the public's assistance. If you know anything, please contact police.